Sorry, I think just trying to mitigate. I think before I start and before I actually do the presentation, I think it's very critical to know that given the conversation that we're about to do on augmented reality, is it real or hype? I think given that what we have done with Blipper globally as well as in India, um, I would kind of put my neck on the line by saying that, hey, augmented reality has got different perceptual problems. We have heard immersive tech being held hostage to network issues and poor bandwidth and consumer adoption. Uh, brands are not willing to spend money on innovation. But honestly speaking, in the last 6 months or last 10 months, we have seen brands kind of climbing on each other to kind of win the race on doing innovations on AR. And it's also about the fact that augmented reality is no longer, uh, a technology magic wand which will come and say, hey, we can bring magic to your business. Or it's no longer the wow factor which most brands wanted to kind of, say, hey, I want to do some augmented reality for my brands or for my business because it will just wow the consumers. Because as David Ogilvy said long time back, that you can't fool your consumers, even if it's your mom. So the great the idea here is that augmented reality at a certain stage needs to be understood in context of the business funnel, and I think it's very important to understand that how AR at a certain level is going to impact a change in your business or in for a brand or for the consumers. So it needs to stay relevant. It needs to stay contextual. And I think initially the first 2 years, 2015, 2016, I think we have seen a lot of hype, but I think it is getting real now with Apple acquiring a whole host of platforms which does SDK to creative content. Google launching, focusing on creating their own platforms. Facebook creating their own AR effect, camera effect platforms. Snapchat becoming one of the largest media houses globally. But I think the preamble is that while you create opportunities and understand what AR does, it's very important to take a step back and understand how can it impact your business. And I think it is going to a level where in India, especially when the millennials today are going to become the consuming class in the next 2 years, or in the next 3 years, we will find that there are a whole host of challenges that are coming in terms of how you can remove the impediments. I think the biggest impediment is in our head and not in the actual technology itself. And I am now kind of rolling on the presentation out so that you guys, I can actually going to kind of showcase what are my thoughts on how augmented reality is going to impact. So I've titled it as AR in the immersive age, and I know there's running sort of time, but I'm trying to kind of see through that, showcase some case studies and see the best possible way of driving the conversation for you guys. Just be with me for another 5 seconds as I open the presentation. Thanks. Okay, so thank you guys just for showing a lot of patience. My idea was to tell you we are already in the immersive age. We have been talking VR, AR, mixed reality. The idea is to kind of take you through what is the relevance of AR today, and what is the footnote, and what are the key areas that we need to focus on, and what is the laying ground for us to work on AR. So. If you really see, it's about, we felt that end of 2017 is easy to imagine, really a dystopian future where technology overrides humanity. Um, then obviously more inspiring is to imagine a future where technology augments humanity. I think we have been little overawed with how technology is going to overrule our lives, but I think technology needs to augment humanity. As tech becomes
Arnav, sorry, this is Dhruvi. I'm going to interrupt you. We're not being able to see your screen. There is a random, it's open on a window which is just showing some favicons, but there's no screen. So can you just check what's happening again, please, if you don't mind? Or somebody from our IT team? In the questions, can I just ask others also if this is the same thing for all?
Can you see the screen now?
Okay, now.
All right, thanks. So as I was saying that as tech becomes more human, voice will become the primary source to interact with the physical world. Then the power of emotion will deliver from how does it work to how does it feel. In the sense that immersive age is all about getting us to feel and touch. Then obviously technology will allow us to minimize friction and create emotionally rewarding interaction. And I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs. As he said that you need to marry technology with liberal arts and humanities to kind of ensure that you find a balance in the way you create opportunities in immersive tech, both for consumers as well as businesses. And the future is now. And actually, there are 4 key factors which are driving the entire conversation on immersive age or for AR today. Is physical is fighting back. The future is about blending the physical and the digital. I mean, we have heard about brick and mortar. Now it's moving from brick and mortar to click and mortar, where there is a focus on how do you start moving consumers from online to offline and create that balance. Then computers are watching. I mean, engaging with this new source of data to create new digital services that add value and are truly compelling. Then again, we are, I mean, in the sense that we are algorithms end of the day are gatekeepers between consumers and brands and are indifferent to the branding efforts that influence buying decisions people make for themselves. Now, these are the areas which we need to be these are the frameworks we need to be a little careful about while we decide and create structure around creating ARable experiences for business. And machine search for meaning. I mean, you must create opportunities to work with machines. It's not man versus machine, but it's man with machine. And then, as I said, the machine is another type of user. I mean, if you really see, if you kind of bring in collaboration between AI and humans working together. So if you see that the results that here, this slide shows is about 99.5% is where you can get to versus where a human working alone or a AI working alone gives you a 92% or 96% of results. And with every age, right from Stone Age to immersive age, exponential increases happened in terms of richness, diversity, and quality of life. And if you really see, the first guy to kind of create an ARable experience was back in 1968 by Ivan Sutherland. And then I think Tom Caudle in Boeing, he created a basically head-mounted device to figure out how to best use it for pilots or for micro displays for autopilots in an aircraft. And this was the first 1998. This is the first 10-yard line, which actually was a simulated conversation that happened on a live telecast of a football game in the US. And then, I mean, all of us who love tennis would see that this is how Wimbledon actually started to look at sports graphics and simulation in a completely different way. So I think the idea is that you need to be contextual to the information that you see. You cannot create AR to build a barrier between consumers and and the physical world. Augmented reality, when we define it, we say, hey, how do you use digital information to overlay between the physical world around you and and gives you the additional layer of conversation and interaction between the physical world and you. But if you really see, this is somebody who's watching a match and you're giving him a very relevant data point. And then all of us have heard about Pokemon Go. It is a great example of connecting the digital world, but it's also not a very good example of AR technology. I mean, it had used basic AR technology to create, but I think the overall concept overruled the technology that was used. So we don't talk about technology here. We talk about technology as a big enabler. That's the lesson from Pokemon Go. Again, all of us who are fans of DRS or for cricket have been using. So this is how you bring in contextual information, which is not a barrier but an enabler for consumer interaction. And again, Black Mirror, somebody who's in the creative field can always see how Black Mirror has been using AR to enhance the consumption depth of entertainment for its users. AR at the end of the day, I mean, the immersive tech is a $150 billion opportunity. Right from, and DigiCapital has said, by 2020, AR would be close to 150 billion, 120 billion, and VR would be about 30 odd billion dollars. And if you look at the hype cycle for emerging technologies, I mean, it's AR, as I said, about 10 months back or about 6 months, 6 months back, is coming out of that stuff of disillusionment, because I think it was kind of held hostage to a lot of perceptual problems. It is coming out of it. And if you really see, the reality to virtually continuum is visual reality is what you see. AR is enhancing what you see. Augmented virtuality is what you do with PSPs and with Xboxes of the world, where you place avatar in a virtual space, and virtual reality is complete immersion in virtual environment. And we are seeing that mixed reality, which is the experience of a virtual world, but application of an augmented world is something that will help to drive a lot of adoption across healthcare, education, retail, automotive. Microsoft HoloLens, HTC Vive are prime examples of MR platforms that are coming in. And then if you really see the entire ambit of entire matrix of AR today, and these are the key players who are pretty much driving the conversation between the enablers of AR and VR conversations globally. And we are almost tipping point. This might be a little. Facebook has said they're making Canberra the first mass AR platforms. You had Lens, Tango. I mean, Tango has been disabled as a hardware device now. The entire motion tracking, SLAM, and depth sensing has been kind of unbundled as a software for developers to integrate into AR platforms. You have Daydream, which is kind of becoming a one ubiquitous platform where it connects multiple content portability. Then you have Magic Leap, which is still in stealth mode. Then you have Assistant, HoloLens, Cortana. All these, all these AR tool, AR kit, which has come in, have kind of created opportunities for creating natively built content for different platforms. The idea, I think, a tipping point will truly come in when, or singularity in AR will come in when two of these larger platforms comes in and creates a middleware which will allow you to publish content seamlessly for both ARKit and AR4. And then, see, so what I said earlier before I started the presentation is that the physical and digital worlds are rapidly merging. And AR will enhance how we live, shop, work, socialize. And they're saying 30% of smartphone users in mature markets use AR at least once a week. And as an $83 billion dollar market by 2021, half of it will come from advertising, e-com, and in-app purchases. And as per Tim Cook said that it's going to be as important as eating 3 meals a day. And once it's arrived, we'll wonder how we ever lived without it. So this is becoming part of philosophy for large technology platforms, which has become a way of life for us, right? On the right, you would have seen kind of small video blurbs of AR campaigns that has happened globally. Just a small snapshot of what Blipper is. We're the leading AR browser and visual discovery platform powered by AR and AI. We believe in the philosophy of giving you more from the world you see. As I said, I don't want to dwell too much on it. We started from 2011 and 2017. We have just kind of revolutionized the way Um, we have created tools which makes AR more democratic. Um, I will wanted to kind of show you this video. You can see the video. I'll pause it. It's a very small video. Thanks, guys. Just wanted to give a small snapshot of. Uh, so what we said is, I mean, and fundamentals of why we need AR is because we are all naturally curious and we are driven by senses, commanded by sight. And visual discovery is driving digital growth. I mean, we're already using images, and AR is all about enhancing the imagery around you. Click, share, broadcast, store every day. And 80% of all our senses are driven by sight. So actually, visual drives more cognition than text. So, and Andrew Ng, chief scientist Baidu, who's no longer at Baidu but now at Google, he said by 2020 half of all search that we do could be voice-based or image-based. So, image will become a paramount uh, driver of information for us in the way we look and feel and create opportunities for ourselves as consumers, as for brands and businesses. What also the fact that one way of what Andrew said from Baidu is that you need to, when you see something and you like something and you can't articulate that back onto a search engine, right? How will a search engine which is more reactive to your input is going to deliver content to you? The idea is that what if you make camera a powerful discovery tool and create opportunities by focusing the camera at anything that you want, and it gives you the information. So you actually talk to the object which is in front of you, and it's very difficult to put a chip in a tree or into a dress and make it IoT. So we are saying that why don't you convert your smartphone into a powerful communication platform which allows you to discover the world around you. So we are saying it's not Internet of Things, but it's Internet on Things. And what is driving this entire conversation on AR and AI today is computer vision, which is the AI for how you see things. So what we're saying is deep learning, machine learning are terms. I don't want to dwell on it too much. Is fueling AI. What is happening with AR today globally is that product is becoming a new media channel, because at the end of the day, if you're consuming something, especially in India, you use online and e-com to kind of see something, but largely percentage of population, majority in the long tail in rural markets or in semi-urban areas or in fully digitalized cities also, most of us will see online and preferably go and buy offline, right? But here, what if you make the product as your biggest media channel? You are giving or interacting with the consumers at the moment of truth when the consumer is in front of the product. I think that's a very powerful, time to own and interact with the consumers. So we are saying digital bidding is happening on the physical world. You basically try and when you do share something, Pokemon Go was about digital bidding on the physical world. You try to own a space, you're checking in somewhere, you're basically saying, hey, I am here. So the point area, the time of the time or the location I'm there, location becomes physically important for me because that's where I would like to interact and meet and do my conversation. And there is virtual ownership of locations. You are basically kind of connecting the dots physically and trying to build an interactive conversational framework digitally but on the physical world. So as I said, the point is, if you really look at again, if you really look at publishing platforms, irrespective of a blip or whatever, right? It could be an app or a platform, it could be an SDK, or it could be a web-based AR. Now, if you look at how do you as a brand owner or as a business owner, how do you create opportunities for conversation using AR? It's about you have to look at context either through object scan, location, then you have to drive engagement, then you have to define an action, and then you have to kind of create a framework for qualitative and quantitative feedback. And then especially today, because we are saying hype or for real, we are focusing on brand-led conversations, is that when you look at AR for brands, there are three areas. You have to switch on the physical media, you have to drive intent and sales, and you have to enhance the digital media. And all these, the hub and spoke for this is a shared data platform. So if you switch on the physical media, right, enhancing brands, you see that AR experiences enhance brand touch points. I mean, once you engage with the brand touch point, it delivers a layer which entertains, educates, and inspires to fulfill brand objectives. And the thousands of campaigns, has given the insight to us that how AR growth brands understand the right moment, the right content, and the right activation. I think, and if you just remove the blipper context here, AR just gives you a gold mine in terms of, the 85 seconds of dwell time. If you had to buy 85 seconds of television spot for your brand, then you have to, it will cost a bomb. Here you are saying, hey, this actually dovetails back to your earned media for a brand, which is huge. Then if you're driving activation at key moments, right from home, you create awareness and desire. You're entering a store, it gives you footfalls into store. In category, it increases shopper engagement. At shelf, it maximizes consideration. With expert, it maximizes sales. So there are various ways you can I'll give you examples of the work we have done. I mean, gives you an idea as to what we're doing. With Covent Garden, it actually augmented retail and created a footfall driver, where you just created a world's first digitally enhanced retail environment. And if you look at the kind of dwell time per user, it was about 3 minutes 36 seconds. Then look at at shelf at home. I mean, the Max Factor. We have kind of empowered 200 SKUs for P&G Max Factor, where it empowers women at key moments with knowledge and inspiration. It drives purchase and repurchase of Max Factor products and increase basket spend to cross-sell recommendation. You can see the data for yourself on the left side. Then storytelling. I mean, I can running out of time, so I want to show you some very good case studies globally, right, that has been done on AR. Always on packaging, we help create more champions with interactive content with Milo in Philippines, which actually mirrors the Indian, digital DNA. But we have had like pretty solid so it gives you an idea on then gamifying loyalty. I mean, you look at McDonald's Place during Christmas, every customer was given interactive good times calendar, and we kind of interacted and integrated our APIs with their loyalty program, which allowed them to measure real time and reward customers and also measure the rewards through their loyalty funnel. Scan to buy, we have kind of integrated the entire funnel here from the awareness to the last mile, where you could actually see something like and scan and buy right now. We did this with across retail outlets in Singapore and in London. And what we've done is we've created something called augmented reality banners. It's basically without using an app, you can trigger an AR experience from a display banner. So we have started by it basically helps brand experience messages and embeds the brand deeper into the mind of the audience. So it's a technology based on the new IRB standards. I don't want to dwell on too much on the tech, but what it does is it basically, so we started doing auto because auto is very immersive in the category that it creates, and it basically allows you to do 360 review. You can actually take the car and kind of superimpose it in front of the lobby, so that it gives you a feel of how the car is going to look like. There are various ways you like to see the world from inside the car. So there are various ways you can kind of convert an existing banner inventory into an ARable conversation immediately, which creates a lot of engagement, value, and clicks, which otherwise will not give you that detail. Then, I mean, this is the interior user journey. This is how the demo, auto exterior demo looks like. You can place it in front of your house. Um, I and then you can gamify. We did this with Star Wars, where you can actually gamify an entire conversation on a phone browser um, uh, through a banner itself. So just see the level of engagement that gets created on an AR-able banner conversation. You can do face tracking. You can create facial detection, and you can use it for retail. You can use it for CRM systems to detect passengers and deliver them personalized service. End of the day, what do you have to figure out, irrespective of AR or not, you have to understand what is the zero moment of truth versus first moment of truth, or second moment of truth. You have to understand and be relevant and be receptive and be contextual. This is a paradigm shift moment. This is a video of how people were looking for Pokemons. I don't want to dwell too much on this video because I'm sure everybody in this audience have experienced, heard, or probably have played or are Pokeholics. Right? This is examples of how you do AR shopping. Just yep. Then this is the BMW visualizer, which I said. They have this unloaded Tango depth sensing, motion tracking, gesture control into this app. I just will do a quick snapshot of this. See how it has allowed you to kind of crunch the purchase funnel for a brand. Again, just another quick example of you can actually add third-party hardware to a capability to a native app and create some outstanding disruptive solutions for your clients. Yeah. Then again, I mean, this is again an automobile heads-up display, which is display on your screen. I want to skip it. Then again, Cookie Quest by Scavenger Hunt. It was done with one of the world's largest mobile scavenging contests. You can look for it in YouTube. I'll just quickly run through it. Again, integration. This is integration of AR and some basic visual stuff that we worked with Intel to create opportunities for ICC Champions Trophy in England last year, where you could use image recognition, machine learning, depth sensing to to every blade of grass, and do visual, create data visualization to build a data for consumers, as well as build smart data by embedding sensors on a bat, giving players the right way and figuring out what stroke to play, what not stroke to play. So smart data, data visualization, image recognition, AI, and AR together, and big data coming together to create uh, an opportunity for players to own the game, educate educate the viewers, and people who are, it's the future of sports, create a new level of fan engagement opportunity for sports. Um, then again, I don't want to get here because it is hyper real. I'll send you the videos later on. In-store retail movement is basically allows you to check in and come out shopping without even carrying your cards. Everything is done and enabled through AR and deep learning. This is again a very personally one of my favorite is one goal at Cannes, where without using any app, without using any platform, it just creates. It's called the Mars Bus Project. I would kind of encourage you to look this up. It's one of the most path-breaking projects where actually you're driving in Earth, and it gives you a feel that you're driving on Mars. Look up. This is an example of ideas cut through and make tech really the enabler for consumer business success. Immersive auto, this creates great opportunities as to how can you co-create and merge locations. So if somebody wants to look under a plant in Chennai through a VR headset, and how can you actually look at the same part of the car sitting in Detroit? Education is again using HoloLens. I'll play this. I'm sure a lot of you know how it's impacting. This is mixed reality, future of learning. I think it creates a huge seamless opportunity. I think the challenges of mixed reality today is content creation. Yeah, guys, moving on. So I think, as I started with the 4 key factors which are preambles for any immersive experiences. I think ending it by, definitive trends in the next 5 years is where I think it's body talk. It's about voice gestures and gaze will replace tapping and typing as bodies become interfaces. Powered by people, membership is the new ownership as technology turbocharges the sharing economy. Then economy of me, it's about data delivers personal interaction at every point of purchase. Then the ethical algorithm, technical possibilities will meet ethical intervention to ensure technology remains a force for good. And the makers and the machines, art and technology will combine like never before to deliver extraordinary new outputs. And as I said, right, you have to think different, telling what you stand for. And as I said, it's critical to have an imagination strategy which will fuel innovation. Innovation strategy will not lead anywhere if you can't imagine what technology can do for your brands and for your consumers. And imagine is free of cost. All you have to be is aware of what's happening around you. Technology can at best be an enabler for great content storytelling experience. It's an idea which will stitch it together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arnav.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we go through a few questions with you if you don't mind?
Sure.
We'll take about 5 or 6 questions.
Okay.
So the questions, you can also go through them. You'll see a question portion over there. But so the first one, let's take them from Abhinav Parekh. He's asked 2 or 3. So, Lisa, can you give me some practical ideas on how to use AR in the real estate and wellness business for richer customer experience?
Sorry, can you just
I'll repeat it.
can you just
Can you,
yeah yeah
can you give me some practical ideas on how to use augmented reality AR in the real estate and wellness business for a richer customer experience? He's
okay.
also asked me more. Which company and country in the world is leading in the usage of AR? Which is it? Which is leading in it in terms of who's using it the maximum? Is it Amazon and Japan? And third is he's asking which voice-based AI assistant is being used the most.
What is the third question?
Which voice-based AI assistant, Cortana, Alexa, Google Home, Siri, which is being used the most? What are their rankings, if you know these?
Okay. See, the point is AR in real estate. Real estate is one of those categories where you create immersive experiences. So what if before you buy a house, what if you or you have bought a house but the location is not ready yet, you don't know how the finished product is going to look like. How can you create use AR to kind of create an immersive walkthrough for your real estate, right? Or if you're looking at one of those large print ads that you see every day, right? Where there is they'll put points to kind of sell that property. So you can actually hover AR and create opportunities to see what exactly, use GPS to find out where exactly the location is. How far actually you can use, computer vision, which can give you faster results than a GPS to figure out what is the actual distance between the hospital and the probable site. It gives you an immersive uh, experience of a not yet ready or a half finished property. It's going to tell you or allow you to, or before you purchase, you can visualize, the developer can help you visualize how the property is going to look like. It's not a 3D rendition, but on your context, it's contextual, right? Number two, you can use it for a trader if you like to see that if you're buying a house on rent, if you want to not go into a house, but if you're able to point the camera outside the house and you can see inside the house and visualize what the house is all about, what's exactly the house looks like, so that you can decide on going into and taking it on rent or not, or if you want to see various amenities that comes around, so AR in real estate is pretty much around helping you to make a buying decision, and second is to allow you to visualize the finished product, or to help you to visualize the location around the property that you might buy or you may not buy, right? And obviously, if you really see or read today's Magic Bricks has come up with experience centers, right, across key areas, key cities across the country, where you go to a physical space, you put on a headset or use a phone or use a touch screen to look at key properties that you want to buy. You actually physically go through it as if you kind of surveying the property yourself without actually being in the location and creating that content. So idea is you create content, you create context, and you create immersive experiences for them to help them to take a decision. These are the 3-4 top things that you can do in real estate. Also in real estate, I mean, in the sense that furniture becomes a part of real estate. So what IKEA is doing is, how can you simulate, or there are a lot of these furniture aggregators who are creating experiences where if you want to buy a sofa, how can you put it inside the house visually, how it looks like. So as you bought a house, how do you want to do the layout of your house? But I mean, you just can't buy it and put it there to see. So how do you visualize? So help you to visually create that visual layout of your house. So now that's question number 1. I'm jumping to number 3 because I just got confused with the number 2 question. I think as far as AI bots are concerned, which are voice-led conversation creators, interfaces, I think, you've got 3 major players today, right? One is Alexa, you've got Google Home, then you've got um, the Apple HomePod, and then you have Cortana as well at a certain level. But I think if you look at the popularity, if that's the question was, I think at this point in time, it's a tussle between Amazon, Alexa, because they're the first movers, and then Google Home. Apple probably strategically came a little late just to see how the market kind of shaked out. But I think in terms of AI bots, today, I think all these 3-4 areas moving beyond. You have Siri, even Salesforce has got AI bot called Einstein. Now again, the point is there are different kinds of AI bots. One is a rule-based AI bot, which will kind of help you to process a certain solution, and there are goal-based AI bots, which will basically instead of a solution, they will articulate some goals for you to achieve, right? So there are different. It's a vast area, and I think the two leading contenders at this point in time, mobile-led AR, mobile and kind of Apple's Siri is obviously a bot, but I think when you give them a HomePod interface, it actually looks a little different. So the form factor wise, I think Alexa leads the race at this point
in time. Okay. Thanks. I'm going to take another question from David S. Bandari. He's asked a few. So I'm going to take 2 or 3 of these because we're slowly running out of time. One of them is, how quickly do you think the public can adapt to augmented reality, and has it been used for CAD programs for aircraft assembly, navigation, military? These are a couple of his questions.
Dhruv, can you rephrase?
I'll phrase them again. How quickly do you think can the public adapt to augmented reality? Also, has it been used for CAD programs, for aircraft assembly, for navigation, for military? Are you aware of this?
So yes, see, I think adoption of AR is a function of how businesses helps to ease consumer either decision making, information delivery, or actually consumption of a particular content or a product. Now there are a lot of brands which have created AR conversations, but there are few who have been able to kind of hit that sweet spot, right? AR will not be as another platform that you, or another choice. It's something that will be integrated as part of what you're going to do in the next few years. So I think the adoption completely lies on how do you want to push it. But having said that, there are a whole host of examples that I showed you globally as well in India. I think the fulcrum is about how digitally savvy we have become. What is the the benchmarks of digital infrastructure, connectivity, speed? Because I create that seamless AR experience, you need to have the connectivity ecosystem around you. You cannot experience it. I have a great product, I have a great solution on AR, but unfortunately, I'm not able to deliver it because there are a lot of impediments on digital infrastructure. I think we are getting about 30%, 40% there with Jio and other guys ramping up their infrastructure. But I think it'll take another 6 months or 1 year down the line for the entire ecosystem to become to a tipping point where we say, hey, the system is ready. You need great ideas to drive adoption. At this point, we have got ideas, but system is still an impediment. On using AR for defense, there is the company called Copin. I'm sure if you've heard of it. They create micro LED displays for HUD displays for helmets, for F-16 fighter planes for the US Air Force, where you could actually see the display in front of. It's cognitive display. It's a mix of AI and AR, where you could actually see the information displayed in front of your screen, and it changes depending on the altitude of the aircraft. They have also created displays, mobile LED displays for cyclists. So if you can look up for Copin, it can. And for CAD also, there have been a lot of these, as I said, when you want to move a particular information from the design phase to an actual visualization phase, portable across multiple platforms, there are softwares, there are open APIs which will help you to drive and convert those contents. So it's already there in real estate, it's already there in healthcare, it's already there in education.
Okay. I'll give you another question, please. How can AR be integrated into the banking and financial services?
I think it's already happening. One way of integrating AR is that you have to say, for example, say you are a bank today and you want to create a personal experience for your consumers. So one part of the experience is, hey, can I scan your card? So the first step is you have to have an SDK which needs to be integrated with your app. Number one. Number two, once it's integrated, you have to define what level of information you want to give to your consumers. So, for example, a consumer will have a co-branded credit card. So, instead of they going through an SMS or they're going through an emailer or through on the app, they can just scan the card and give a 3D rendition of loyalty points and easy to do interface where they can, how can I use the loyalty points to purchase a ticket, right? How can I know what are my top 5 transactions that I've done, right? What is my next payment due, or can I do the payment? So the point is, some level of information in banking and financial is information that you want to be privy, because there is a question of data pilferage that might happen. You need to be careful how to manage information supply to consumers on AR, but there is a whole host of conversation that is happening at an enterprise level, where you want to kind of give traders, they have a forex card. You just need to scan them and see what's the latest exchange rate that you have. So there are business-led applications that are there. There are you want to take an AR app, this consumer AR app, which is happening in India, where a few banks have said, hey, you want to find an ATM, you just switch on your camera to the app and just move it around, and you just look at an ATM, give you the direction and the distance from where you are and how to get to the ATM. So I think there are things which are happening at an enterprise level and consumer level, and broadly, if anybody has kind of some in-depth how to do or an FAQ on what to do on banking and financial, I'll be happy to take it as a separate chat.
Okay. One last and quick question, and then we'll say thank you to you, is what is the difference between AR and VR?
Well, AR is, the definition is pretty much lies on the first 2 words of each of the jargons. AR augments your reality, which is pretty much what it does is it doesn't distort the environment around you. What it does is it uses a digital device, which has got a camera on it, to overlay information on top of the physical world around you. So you're sitting, say in a park, and you're looking at a tree, you can actually use your AR device to put a bird on top of the tree. That's AR, right? Virtual reality is completely different. It takes you to a world which is where you can physically possibly go, which is not physical. It's alien world. So that's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. Augmented reality is scalable. It can be delivered through a mobile phone with a camera on it. Virtual reality we have a form factor challenge. We have headsets, but yeah, we are getting there in terms of how form factor will help you to scale up virtual reality.
Thank you, Arnav. Thank you so much for your time. We hope you've become a member of Young Indians already. If not, I'm going to get data to send you a form. It would be lovely to have you as a part of us. And thank you for taking out the time for today, as well as for Take Right. It was truly very, very educative. I know for sure that a lot of us will start implementing. I downloaded the app Blipper while we were listening to you, and it's quite amazing the way it recognizes different things around my office. So we look forward to hearing more about you, seeing more of what you do, and potentially also having you with us again. So once again, thank you.
Thank you, and apologies for the delay.
No issues. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you all for attending.